golfj.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the season finale of the Golf J podcast on FingerLakes1.tv. I'm Jim Sinicropi alongside of Rhett, Ticconi, and Doug Brown here inside the FingerLakes1.com studios on the third floor of the North Park building in Seneca Falls, New York. Monday, September 25th, 2017 is the date. And tonight we'll be talking about the FedEx Cup champ, Justin Thomas. Didn't win on Sunday, though.
First time in a while.
And we'll talk about a new golf ball that Titleist, a new premium golf ball that Titleist is going to sell in select markets. And the President's Cup is this week. We'll also take a look back at the year that was, maybe on the PGA Tour and in our own local golf lives here on the season finale of the golfj.com podcast. Fellas, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Jim. How are you?
Seems
a little summertime weather today.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be the season finale because up here in upstate New York, it was 90 degrees today. So
we take it.
Yes.
Take it.
But, man, every year we look at that schedule. You know, it's such a long, relentless PGA Tour schedule.
Yep.
And we've reached the end with...
Started about a year ago.
Just about. But it does seem like yesterday we were talking about Augusta.
Yeah.
Getting ready for Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
But Justin Thomas is your FedEx Cup champ. First time in 8 years that two players celebrated East Lake. Xander Schauffele won the Tour Championship, but obviously not enough points to capture the FedEx Cup. Last time that happened, Tiger Woods won the FedEx Cup, and Phil Mickelson won the Tour Championship in 2009. So I don't know which one you want to talk about first. Let's talk about Schauffele.
Yeah, Tour Championship.
Yeah, it began with a tie for fifth in his U.S. Open debut. That was the first time that most people, he entered the golfing world's consciousness, really. It was when he popped up on that U.S. Open leaderboard. And then a month later won the Greenbrier. So at that point, you're thinking this guy's for real. Wouldn't have even been to the Tour Championship, though, until he played his final 6 holes at 6 under par at Conway Farms last week in the BMW Championship to get into the top 30 in the FedEx Cup. And now he becomes the first PGA Tour rookie to win the Tour Championship since it began way back in 1987. Of course, different type of tournament back then. Right. The FedEx Cup playoffs didn't exist, but you saw something in him, Brownie. You picked him up for your fantasy golf team.
Yeah, that was a nice pick.
Yeah, the one fantasy golf we were able to make a drop and a pickup, and
yep.
I reluctantly dropped Tiger Woods and picked up Xander Schauffele, who we only talked about for a few weeks.
Might we add that?
But it paid some dividends.
Big time, dude.
I never thought I would make that statement on live TV, but I did.
That you waited until the Open Championship to drop Tiger Woods.
It was my second drop too.
You knew Schauffele was going to make a move right about then, right?
Just about then, yes.
Worked out for you.
I didn't anticipate this, but it looked like he was going to have at least a decent season. And from what I was getting out of Tiger, it was a worthy move to anybody. Yeah. And this guy seemed to be coming into form, and he demonstrated that the rest of the season.
It's a great move.
Yeah.
Helped you out in your standings, too. You moved up a couple notches.
Yeah. A lot of luck involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Xander is from that heralded class of 2011, that group of Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and friends. He's a little bit late to the party, but, you know, obviously just getting into the Tour Championship and then winning the Tour Championship shows that he's going to be around and every bit as long as Spieth and Thomas.
Just add him to that list of big 3, big 30.
Yeah. He's quite a player. You got to give him credit. I mean, coming from virtual unknown in June to now winning the Tour Championship.
And finishing third in the FedEx Cup standings, ahead of Dustin Johnson.
Well, if you look at the top 15 in the final FedEx Cup, I mean, nowadays that's a who's who. I mean, all those guys have won tournaments or
right.
are in the hunt week after week, or you're making your picks for your fantasy. You're going after all of these guys, and it's just so, you know, I think that that big three era is over for a little while. I know there's a couple that are a little more at the top than others, but this is a great group of guys to be able to watch on it week in and week out. And whether it's a bigger tournament or not one of the bigger stops, somebody in this group's going to be playing.
Right.
So it's great for the PGA Tour to be able to hang their hat on all these guys.
Yeah, I agree. The Tour's in a great spot. And what a great name.
Yeah.
You're going to forget that name? You might not be able to pronounce it, but will you forget it?
No, definitely not.
No, he's probably the only player on the tour whose name starts with X. Can't think of anybody. Xavier
McDaniel.
Nah, they play golf.
The X-Man. Well, he's the new X-Man.
There you go.
So, okay. There's your tournament winner, but he didn't win the FedEx Cup, which don't want to get into this just yet about how kind of silly that way that is to crown a champion. Yeah. Every other sport, the person that wins on the last day is the champ. So, but anyways, we'll talk about that in a bit. Justin Thomas, basically wrapped up a career season that going into it, you were wondering, man, when's this kid going to live up to his potential?
Right.
Well, 5 wins, 1 major, and a FedEx Cup later,
Yeah.
Justin Thomas has arrived.
I think it's quite a good year. That's the type of Tiger-esque Phil Mickelson type year, honestly, when you think about the numbers he put up this year.
Totally agree. He won everything.
Top
right?
10s, a bunch of them as well.
The guy's awesome. He's going to be around for a long time, and so next year maybe he wins 3 times. Is it an off year? Like what happened with Jordan Spieth? I guess we condemned Jordan for only winning a couple times the 1 year after the great year. But this kid he's got power. He's got accuracy. He's got touch. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
I guess the same with Xander Schauffele too. They just play.
Yeah, well, Thomas enters next year not having to worry about winning his first major either. So he's a little looser heading into the season. He's the defending champ.
What did he have the world rankings? How far up is he moved?
He's 4th. I saw it before I came here. I'm shocked he's that low.
Right.
Yeah, you'd think he would be at least 2. At least 2.
Yeah, but of course it's a 2-year rolling average.
Yeah.
So
be another year, half as good as this year. He'll be in number 1.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas wrapped up the FedEx Cup when Spieth, the number 1 seed, couldn't sustain momentum after holing out from the 10th fairway, which is pretty cool for Eagle. And then almost holing out again on 13. Spieth closed with a 67, tied for 7th. He earns $3 million for his second place finish in the FedEx Cup, so not too bad there. But, Spieth was mostly happy for Thomas. They're friends.
Yeah.
But, Spieth didn't need much to he didn't need to win. He just needed to maybe one more birdie, and he's the FedEx Cup champ, which, like I said, it's kind of a strange way to determine, an arbitrary birdie. Or the other thing to consider, and why not just start talking about it right now, about the playoffs, is, so Rex Hired at golfchannel.com explained kind of what was going on and how kind of silly it is. So if Koepka was the one who won the Koepka, this is so hard to even comprehend now looking at it after the fact, but if Kevin Kisner's birdie at the 6th hole moved him into the lead, and at that point Spieth was in the lead because of Kisner's birdie. 45 minutes later, Tony Finau made a birdie on the last hole, and then Thomas moved to the top spot. So it's, you kind of get the idea here about players are doing on other parts of the holes or changing what's happening in the standings of the FedEx Cup from 1st and 2nd.
It's almost like it's weird because it almost takes the club out of the guy's hand. Obviously, if he's playing well, he's doing what he has to do, but he's not the only one that decides his own fate. Everybody else around the course making birdies either propels somebody or demotes somebody up and down the list. So I'm not sure I like that as much. But Doug and I were talking before the show. You did see, though, how they say anybody in the top 30 can win it, because you see, Schauffele come from 26th to get it done. So
But came to third place, so
Yeah.
it would take a little more magic to win the cup.
Well, yeah, true.
He won
He
the
was all the way up
tournament,
to
but not the
third.
cup.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where I don't like as much where you're not deciding your own fate. So be it, you know.
I like the way they played out the projected finish as of like right now. Several times they pushed that button.
Yeah.
And I like that because obviously those guys are playing for points, FedEx Cup points, right?
Yep.
And there's ties or wins based on what spot you're in. So you get 400, you lose 250, back and forth. I think it's pretty neat. And at one time they projected a playoff between Spieth and Thomas if it finished like it was right then and there.
Which would have been amazing.
That would have been very much amazing, right? Not for the tournament, but for the cup.
Well, that's how it should have ended, though. I mean, that's what this thing is missing is a final, showdown with the winner take all.
For the cup, not the tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Spieth's in the clubhouse, and Thomas, played great, but actually faltered down the stretch or didn't play as well as another guy we saw, Xander Schauffele.
Right.
But Thomas wins the cup instead of Spieth because of some math. So,
Thomas birdied 16 and 17. Okay.
Yeah, no, he didn't choke or anything.
He just didn't birdie 18 on a relatively short par 5 for those guys.
Right, and he was actually visibly upset with himself after, even though after learning he won the FedEx Cup, he was still upset that he didn't win the tournament because he parred the par 5 18th. But so we've talked for the past several weeks about some changes that can be made, and there will be some sort of changes coming up in the 2018-19 season when the Tour Championship will move to Labor Day weekend. There'll be some changes tour-wide. But, we've talked – I still contend that I wish that by the time it got this far, there were less golfers.
Yeah, absolutely.
No offense to Xander Schauffele, but he's got no chance to win the FedEx Cup. Why is he at the FedEx Cup Championship tournament?
Yeah.
Even if it's 12. And I know that a lot of people say, well, there's less golfers to watch. Spectator-wise, man, it would be, you'd know exactly who was playing, and it would be fantastic. And here, how about this twist? How about at the end of the regular season, instead of taking the top 125, maybe it's like they say the top 36 even, something, So you really, when you earn your way in, at that point, the number one seed, the leading point getter, he gets to choose the course for the FedEx Cup. And I'm sure that wherever that course, that Tour Championship, we'll be able to prepare in 3 or 4 weeks maybe. I mean, he could choose Seneca Falls Country Club. He could choose, Bay Hill or Pebble Beach. Or I know that seems a little crazy, but
throwing a lot of things out there. I like it.
But, let's get crazy. And how about this? How about and this is something I heard mentioned, a +1 scenario. So if it's going to be Labor Day weekend, the tournament ends, and then the top 4 guys play one more round on Monday, and that's the winner of your FedEx Cup, or even the top 3. And you say you don't want to cut it down too much, but 3 guys playing for $10 million, one round of golf, on Monday. I think people would watch that, especially you're going to see. In this case, you would have saw Thomas, Spieth, and Dustin Johnson, or maybe actually it would have been Schauffele and Dustin Johnson. But people are going to tune in.
Absolutely.
You can put them all in the same group, playing a foursome or 2 twosomes, whatever. But it would be a spectacle. And right now, that's what golf needs. It needs something to get the everyday sports fan to pay attention, because the night and morning of after and before the Tour Championship, the PGA Tour's biggest event, all the talk on SportsCenter and Sports Talk Radio was football.
Yep.
NFL football with a little college football thrown in, and no mention really at all of the Tour Championship in any of the time I was listening or watching.
You had to, if you weren't on ESPN Golf, you had to hunt for it on the main ESPN page. You know what I mean? It was way down the list. And they need to get off of this late in September for sure. And I also agree with you, less is more concept. I would say I like 8. I like that number 8. I like it for college football playoff. I like it for this. But like you said, the next day, that would be awesome. Or even if you took at the end of the if you bump the tee times up a little bit, and then maybe you took once that tournament was over, you crown that champion, and then those 4 guys at the end go out and play for the FedEx Cup. Maybe you play 4 holes or 9 holes or something along those lines too, just something to add more drama to it. And make it a singular, separate event than the tournament. Because even the name of the tournament, the Tour Championship, some people could even get that confused with which is which. I mean, is Tour Championship, FedEx Cup, are they the same thing? How do they differentiate those? So I just think I agree with you there, Jim. That we could have some more stuff added to this to spice it up.
Brownie, what would you do to change it? Or you like it how it is?
I think I'd go with what happened this past weekend, then go to match play. I could debate whether it'd be 4 or 8 places. I think 8, looking at these results, 8 is probably too many. Go to a 4-person match play event. Worst case, the next weekend. I don't know if you could do it. You'd probably do it the next 2 days, right in succession, Monday and Tuesday, if you're trying to avoid NFL football.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the Tour Championship Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, you have round 1. You could actually do 36 holes in one day and get it over, depending on the location.
Sure. The Tour Championship, since it's a smaller field, could be 3-round tournament, and then you can play your 2-round match play tournament on Sunday and Monday.
Right. So you haven't got to tee off. They have this thing finish at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You could tee off at 8 o'clock and have it done at noon before kickoff, even if you waited until next weekend. So, and there'd be some big names there, and I think you're right. I think with just Thomas and Spieth alone is going to fill the crowd, fill the bleachers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Schauffele's not a household name yet, but boy, he's intriguing.
Yeah.
Right. So there's going to be a draw there too. Plus, it's the finals.
David Goliath, and then you got DJ in there too, maybe if you went with the top 4.
Right.
Yep.
That's why I would even at that point I would say I would go top 4, because even after I think you'd be almost comfortable with anybody winning the FedEx Cup out of that 4. Maybe not Xander Schauffele, but he did just win the Tour Championship and earn his way in. But I think when you get down to Rahm and Leishman and Fowler and Matsuyama, if they won, they don't feel like season champions in the same way that Thomas, Spieth, or Johnson would have.
Matsuyama had a good year early on. He's got a lot of wins.
But nothing
he
like...
faded. But if he was to get into the finals, if he finished 4th and got into that event you're talking about,
right.
He could win.
If he got into 4th, that would have been fine. But right now he's 8th. That's why I say keep it at 4.
But he could have fallen from 1st to 4th. Could have faded.
So he was number 1 heading into the tournament, the playoffs. He was number 1.
So he fades down to 4th. He gets into the finale, has a good round. You can say, man, these other guys played 12 rounds of terrific golf, and he stunk the place up, but he plays the right one at the right time.
I like the top 4 for a match play the next day, but if you did stroke play, I'd like top 8 just to have 4 2.
If I did stroke play, I think I'd do the top 3 in ties.
I'm thinking more. I guess I'm thinking more of the ratings and TV, which they would be thinking along those lines too.
Why would that make the ratings better? It's just waters it down.
The names. I think. I think a lot of people would watch it for the names. You could get some people in there that recognize the name. You say Ricky. Well, Ricky Fowler for one. He's down the list. If he gets hot on a day where it's a 1-round 18-hole tournament for $10 million, it's 8 guys.
Thomas,
I like
Spieth,
that.
Schauffele, Johnson, done. Period. Let them go. There's a clear break there from the next 4 down in terms of the season that they had, and really, you could go just Thomas and Spieth, and that would be
big enough.
That'd be huge.
Well, it would be. I think more, and that's. I just think those names there, for somebody who's watching, I like any one of those guys. I would watch the whole.
Maybe, but they had nothing even close to the season of the guys ahead of them, like Thomas and Spieth.
Well, then maybe you just go in right after the final and have a 4-hole playoff or something from the last 2, and that would have been the playoff we would have wanted.
The old school mano y mano, Thomas and Spieth, one more round, because you could still make an argument right now that Spieth, deserves the FedEx Cup. I mean, it was so close between the two of them. And, even Thomas won the one playoff event. Spieth came in second, like 20-something, and 6th in the 4 playoff tournaments. I don't know. I think that you could sell that. I think you could sell that to the American public and the average sports fan.
We need Shell's Wonderful Roller Golf right now, putting this together for tomorrow morning at Atlantic Athletic Club, just down the street. Not a big drive.
I'd definitely be
Sunday night, the top seed, which in this case would be Thomas, picks the course. They fly out, they land, they tee off the next morning at 1 o'clock, Spieth versus Thomas.
I could do that. I like that part.
Well, that part probably won't happen, but
No.
but I'm telling you, if you want to capture the imagination of the general sporting public, I think you need to do something kind of extreme, because what they did this weekend didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, golf fans loved it. Justin Thomas, I got to see him get crowned and everything, but something's lacking in the world of golf.
I think what we're getting at here is that it definitely needs something else. I think anything that we've talked about or somebody else would come up with that's around this type of thing, I think would be an improvement on what it is. I think it's just been the same way for too long. Was it 10 years now?
Right. Well, there's a lot of talk going on. You hear it on the Golf Channel. David Duval talks about that, and Brando Chambly. They're talking behind the scenes about what to change, but it might be a year or two out yet. So I know they're trying to make it, let's say, better.
Yeah.
Right. And who knows? They might change something, and it may not be better. Right. But I think there's going to be some attempts to make things different.
Right.
So.
How about one last idea? You're going to rework the schedule. How about instead of moving the PGA Championship up to May, move that to Labor Day weekend and have that be the finale? Now, that probably never happened because Coke sponsors the Tour Championship.
Right.
But bookend the golf season with a major. Most people traditionally have felt the golf season ends when major golf season ends.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour is trying to change that. Stretch it out. Put the PGA Championship then. You could even... you could have your Tour Championship and then followed by the PGA Championship in a shortened season, that ends in Labor Day. I don't think you're going to move the U.S. Open over there to Labor Day weekend or the British Open, so it would have to be the PGA. Obviously, the Masters stays, so I don't know, that's just another thought.
Decent thought, though, because with the move of the PGA to May, it takes a lot of Northeast courses off the map as far as being chosen.
Sure.
Potentially, because... let's face it, at Oak Hill, you could have snow.
Yeah, and they're going to try it.
Right. But you could, right? So you put that at Labor Day weekend, that's a whole different world as far as planning for the event. So
it really
might
brings,
be a better choice.
Yeah, and you could still use southern courses.
You still
takes the whole geographical U.S. you can use.
Would you still use your same size field, though? Or are you talking about PGA Championship with only
No,
30
that would
guys?
just be the same thing. It would be, which is the problem. It's not the PGA Tour. It's the PGA of America that runs that tournament. Right. So you'd have all those club pros in there. But again, I'm not saying that would be the best way to go to crown a champion, but from the interest of the public, to end your season with one of the four majors instead of a manufactured major. That's why I was saying you could still have some sort of playoffs leading up to it, and then that ends, and then the final major of the year, boom, we're out. But I don't know. I always thought team golf would be fun too. Like imagine if golfers were like, like NBA cities could sign golfers, for whatever reason, and there was this other league that went on, of team golf. I think that would be something that would be pretty interesting. Cities would get behind their players, and Jordan Spieth has got traded from Dallas to Boston, and people in Texas are going crazy because he's a native son.
This guy's all over the place.
I'm telling you, got to think outside the box.
So if OKC signs Dustin Johnson and the Celtics sign Jordan Spieth, do either of them beat Golden State Warriors who signed Jason Day?
Well,
we got to get you on the tour policy board. That's all there is to it.
I don't know if I'd last long.
He'll be a caddy or he'll be on the policy board.
Now, what I said isn't exactly that crazy because they're talking about doing like equipment team play.
Now that would be cool.
So if you're a TaylorMade guy, there's a certain tournament that you go to, maybe once a year it would happen, where you're playing against the Titleist guys, but that probably won't happen because all the manufacturers don't want to,
take a hit.
Yeah, like if the Titleist team lost, but you know what? If you want to capture the imagination of the general sporting public, that's the kind of stuff you need to do.
That would be cool, though. That's Formula One does that with their constructors. The Ferrari team, the Williams team, Mercedes team. There's a driver title and there's a constructor's title, so it'd be like the equipment title.
You got your Titleist guys, Callaway guys, PXG guys.
Yeah.
Is there enough ping
Callaway,
guys? Is there ping guys anymore? Probably not.
Handful.
Ping's
Bubba,
not big.
couple.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
I think
Nike anymore.
I think there's enough in every one of them where they could field a 4-man team or something. Even
4-man team, yeah.
Something like that, or just however many. If they have 20 each or 10 each, something like that, that would be cool. Though I think that would be neat. You're onto something there.
Well, that's all my ideas that I have for now.
He's spent. He's gonna take the rest of the night off.
Are you done?
So
It's our show.
So year in review. It's our season finale. And like I said, I don't want to just talk about the PGA Tour year in review. I want to talk about our personal golf years in review a little bit here. Sometimes we just go on and on about the tour. I think it's interesting to talk about other things going on in the world of our golf games, even that some people might be able to relate to. So, first of all, let's start with the PGA Tour, though. Player of the year is Justin Thomas. Everybody agrees.
Hands down.
There's no reason to argue that.
Tony Finau. No? All right.
Someday.
Yeah, I'll go with Justin Thomas. Yeah, maybe someday.
Solid year by Tony Finau.
Absolutely. Got to go Justin Thomas.
Okay, how about Rookie of the Year? And this is, I'm assuming, John Rahm's a rookie? He had that thing locked up?
Yeah, I think he has to
Xander
be,
Schauffele. Now, though, you can make an argument for.
I give it to Xander really because of the latest part of the body of work. I guess he's more prevalent in my mind. But to win a tournament and then to win the FedEx.
Two tournaments.
Right, the first one and then this one.
Yeah.
And Rahm won one, correct?
Just one.
Rahm won one.
He
Although
was
he had
in contention in every one.
Yeah,
a lot of good finishes.
He had 11 top 10s. Schauffele had 4.
But this kid with 2 wins.
But 2 of them were wins.
This past weekend, I give it to Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, just by the fact that you can say that, John Rahm had all those top 10s, which is great, but it's really about winning. And at the end of the day, Schauffele's 2 slots ahead of him in the final FedEx Cup standing. So I think it would have to go to Xander in a late charge. John Rahm was probably getting paraphernalia printed up, Rookie of the Year.
Well, yeah, and a month ago we were talking, even with, what do you have, 3 wins at the time, we were talking about Jordan Spieth as Player of the Year before Justin Thomas came on. So, both of them kind of late charge. I'd go with Schauffele as well.
That Rookie of the Year vote, it's going to be kind of split.
Yeah.
It could be a tie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a big shock to see it's a tie because of the body of work with John Rahm.
Oh, absolutely. He deserved it. I mean, he's deservingly.
Let's fly him out
It's
somewhere.
happened before.
Face him
It's
off.
happened before, yeah.
2-hole playoff.
Yeah.
At Seneca Falls Country Club.
Give him 90 yards wedge shots closest to the pin wins Rookie of the Year. Drive the green at Seneca Falls, the first hole.
So who are you going with?
As far as Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Schauffele. I like. I've liked him since the U.S. Open. I think he's been steady ever since, and the way he finished the season.
I will too. Now you're drafting for fantasy golf next year. Which one of those guys you take first?
Play fantasy golf with a number of top 10s. John Rahm's a solid pick in a fantasy golf league.
And just the fact that I think Rahm's a little younger, but you get the feeling that once he learns to close out some of these events, he's
going to get a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of those golf leagues will pay off on top 5 or top 10 finishes.
Yeah,
it's hard to turn down. You had 10 of them, right?
11
top 10s.
I think I'd take Rahm.
He has that it factor about him, just as far as his game just being so dead on.
The next great Spanish golfer, probably the best since Jose Maria.
Yeah,
Olazabal.
Yeah, he could become better than Sergio for sure. Although Sergio made his case to stay up there after getting his major.
Right.
I did forget about Sergio there.
We got a long ways to go before we can talk.
He's done a few things on Ryder Cups.
Yeah.
We got a ways to go before Rahm's the best Spaniard.
But he's set up to be probably
no doubt.
right now.
Yeah.
The potential's there. But
unlike Rafael Cabarabello, he's always arguing he's in that class.
No. This guy does seem to be that guy.
Yes.
So, he has kind of not the enigmatic personality like Sergio, but just kind of the game, the super solid game, and he's going to be around every week in and out. He's going to have a chance to be in the top 10.
Yep.
He's got the sideburns too.
So that's important.
So, all right, most memorable. What's 5-6 years ago, somebody says, "Hey, man, what was the best moment that you remember from the 2016-17 PGA Tour season?"
Yeah.
What would you say?
I'd probably have to go with Spieth holing out, and was that the Travelers?
Oh, that bunker shot in
bunker,
just the regular tour.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, a memorable moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Koepka winning, Garcia winning the major, first timers winning these majors, but just one moment in time for the whole year. I got to say Spieth with that hole out.
To me, hands down, it's Sergio Garcia with the fist pump on the 18th green and all that. That's
what I was going to say too. To me, when that ball went in the hole for Sergio, because until he made that last putt,
right.
I didn't know anything could happen, with Sergio. So when that went in, he finally won way back in April.
Way back.
That was probably the defining moment of the year. But then we got treated, to some pretty cool stuff this year.
Yeah.
With Thomas winning the PGA. But Spieth, seeing Spieth over there with the claret jug, too, was a pretty memorable thing. It just further solidified to me that, he's going to be one of those all-time greats, obviously with 3 majors and one more for the career Grand Slam. I remember that, too.
I can't forget his, what was it, 16th hole, where he took 20 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was pretty memorable, too.
There's a few long rulings this year.
Yeah.
Well,
most of them recently.
Rulings, period.
Yeah.
Always make the top 10.
I think we're going to be able to say Jordan Spieth had memorable moments every year from now on.
Yeah.
Some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Sergio is pretty tough to beat, too, now you say that, but I think just the one, like, in a flash moment, that shot was pretty cool.
So, okay, personal golf this year, anything extraordinary happen, or, like Brownie, no hole-in-one still, huh? Another year, no hole-in-one?
Well, the year's not over.
That's true. That's true.
I talked yesterday about maybe taking out about 400 balls to the 12th tee. And just
sit until you get one.
If they get that pin in the front left and set it where I want it, I'll hit 400 shots from 110 yards.
Go in.
I'd like to think one might skip off another one and ricochet in.
You have blisters in your
arms. Still not official, though, at that point. It needs to be during a round of golf, right?
I tell you what, if I make one, I'm willing to buy a drink, so that's official enough for me.
That's official enough for everybody in the clubhouse.
As time goes on, it becomes very official.
That's right.
So no holes in one. So personal golf year, interesting year for me. The career changed a little bit, and learned a lot about different things that I hadn't been exposed to. I've been on the other side of the counter most of my life,
right.
45 years. So a little bit different angle of it from this year. Learned a lot about, tournament software and servicing people and all that kind of good stuff. It's all been very positive. I didn't play a lot of golf compared to what I normally play because I played a lot of golf over the years. However, the last 2 or 3 months, the times I've played relatively well.
Does not golfing as much, is it not as good? I guess, is not golfing as much worth it when you're like around the golf like all the time? Like, right. You didn't spend as much time on the course, but you were at the course.
Right.
Is it the same or different? Like, does it feel the same kind of for the golf junkie in you? Does it?
Yeah, so golf's still satisfying. Yes, I know what your question is. Are you exhausted from it and don't care to play as much? Are you into it as much, right? And I'm still into it as much as ever was. In fact, maybe more. But I found that, I think you go back 5-6 years ago, I started doing some stuff to become very mechanical, analyzing an awful lot of stuff. I did some TrackMan stuff and got into a lot of information and maybe too much. And at some point in time, I know my game suffered a little bit.
Well, you won the club championship last year, though. So,
right. But I got out of that technical aspect before that. So I think now that I played less, I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't get up to think, okay, you got to get into this spot in order to hit it good. Okay, I think it just becomes more ingrained and it becomes more of a habit and it's more natural.
Right.
I seem to be hitting the ball pretty good, and I got a new spider putter. I know a lot of guys went away from it this past weekend, although DJ went back to it. I swear by that spider putter. I think you're going to find it. It's a very, very good putter, and it'll be
worth the money.
Around for a long time and worth the money. There's 2 different styles. One costs a little bit more than the one I have, but
neither's free.
Neither's free. No, we can give you a bit of a discount, but that's about it. So, but it's been very satisfying though, Jim, as well.
Right.
I didn't play a lot of golf at different courses this year. It's a little bit of It's sad to say that because I used to get around a little bit and play. Look forward to doing something different with that next year, hopefully with different scheduling, different opportunities. So this was a year of change for me and change for the club. I think all for the better for both, and I'm looking forward to next year as well. But I think we got things in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty. Personally, I'm satisfied with the way things have went. I hope others are, and I've had a good time. I've met a lot of people that I maybe would have never met. I saw a lot of people differently than maybe I would have ever seen them.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because it's a different aspect and all that. And those are pros and cons of that comment. Okay. However, it's been very rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody that's known you since I was a kid too, it was fun to see in that capacity in a way, and it's a long time member down there too. It was great. Things were just great this year. Yeah. So
I consider myself a golfer. I look at a golfer as somebody who goes to the golf course and dresses properly, fixes divots, fixes ball marks, rakes the bunkers. Doesn't matter what you shoot for a score. There's many members down there that shoot 100 that I would consider a golfer.
Right.
Okay. There are a bunch of guys who shoot 68 that I think just play golf. They'll leave ball marks and leave beer all over the place. That's not a golfer to me. Okay. And I just wanted to be that way in the shop. I wanted to be treating people the way I wanted to be treated. And it's really not hard to say hello to somebody when they walk in the door. People don't need a whole lot.
No.
Right? But greet them with a smile, say how you doing, thanks for coming. Thanks for choosing us.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of choices out there. People can play anywhere. Especially around here you put like a 30-mile drive, you can find, 10, 15, 20 golf courses within 30 miles. And we're fortunate enough that people are finding us, and I want to make sure they come back.
And you got the people that walk into when you walk into a pro shop before you're about to play a round of golf, generally, especially if it's a different course, but generally you're kind of excited. Mm-hmm. It's kind of so that experience at that point can be elevated even more. You kind of embrace the fact that these guys are here recreationally, looking to have for the next 4 or 5 hours to be out there having a good time. And so it's all part of it for sure. How about you, Rhett? What golf-wise? Talk about your game.
I think
you played a lot this year.
Played pretty good amount. I'm happy with how much I played. But I think mostly two things. My putting. I totally went away from the bad experiment of 2016 with the no-look putting. Went back to the more traditional way, and I stayed with the even roll putter, which I love. But it was even more beneficial to me with that putter looking at the line, so to speak. So I was pretty happy with the way I putted all year. I think that helped me get my handicap down a couple strokes this year. But I also wanted to, plug them again. Early on in the year, and Jim can attest to it from some of the rounds we played, I was having trouble with my wedges. And I did make the change to the Titleist wedges, the 56 and the 52 degree, and the grinds and dealing with all of that. And I highly recommend anybody that's looking to make a wedge change to look into the Titleist wedges and read up on the grinds and how they're made for each different type of swing. And those helped me a lot too, because I think I was getting back through the ball and hitting shots. And I used to hit a 60-degree wedge all the time too from the bunkers, and some of the shorter shots. And I think I realized, and based on my swing, that it was just too much loft, and I was coming up short a lot. But I went to the 56, and it's made a huge difference in between my 100-yard shots of 52, but as I go in a little further now, I can get a 56 to the green and have a good swing at it, whereas if I tried it with a 60, it's coming up short, 52 would be too long. So right. I think I've got that dialed in. So I'm happy with where my short game is. I just think I got to work on my focus a little more. I tend to go in and out during rounds. I'll hit 3-4 pars in a row, and then I'll get a double, and then have a bogey and a par and then a double, and then hit another good streak of par. So I think I really have to work on that as I go along. I tend to step out of my shot when I'm out of it, so to speak, and not really focused. And when I keep my head down and stay in the shot, I tend to
you realize
hit
after you hit the shot, you realize that you weren't focused.
Right. Exactly. It's so easy to tell if you're hitting it thin or you're just pushing it or But if just stay down on it and
Yeah,
stay
we only
in
need
the
your
shot.
attention for 5 seconds.
Seriously. I mean, sometimes it's a reach, Doug. Sometimes it's a reach. So, I'm not quite ready for prime time in those big money matches, but one of these days I'm going to get to the point where I can, I'm 84, 86, I'm a 12, but I was a 14 last year, so I'm happy with that. But I'd like to be where I could get to 9, 8, shoot 80, 79.
You should be at 6, 7 with your game.
It could
Right.
be. But
Chipping and putting.
I just
short game.
I got to focus.
Yeah.
I got to focus. So
It was good to see you there as
I
often as
enjoyed,
you were this year.
You know what? And being able to get out there and hit balls at lunchtime and stuff will help. But it's great seeing you there every day when we were there. It was a pleasure having you out there. It's hard to replace Dennis Leahy, but you did a top job.
Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill, definitely. But you did awesome. It was great having you out there.
I met a friend of yours from Lions in Geneva this weekend, playing the Geneva two-man.
Chuck Myers?
Nope, Giddings?
Tommy Giddings or Mike Giddings?
Mike Giddings,
yeah, his son. Yeah, he's a good stick.
Oh, he's a character, too.
Oh, God, you have no idea.
So, we played in the two-man in Geneva, Geneva Country Club, and that was a fun tournament they run every year on a beautiful day. Actually, it was too hot, never the problem in September. It was hot.
Last 2 weeks, September, summer, man.
Why?
Golfing, boating, anything you want that you normally doing in July. It's great.
Well,
Can't put enough water on a golf course right now.
Oh.
Shocking. So about you, Jim?
yeah, I think the one thing I learned from this year is I got to just put a little more work in. It's the same year almost as every year. Some years I get it together a little better than the others. But I bet you if you took my stats from the past 15 years, and you took my stroke average from April to July 4th weekend, let's say, I bet you the stroke average would be like 79 or 80. But then you take my stroke average from June or July until the end of the fall, the stroke average is probably like 77.5. But I'm telling you, it's every year. There was no breakthrough. I haven't ever had a breakthrough. I've had years where I felt a lot more confident. I've done better in some of the tournaments I care about, but I got to do something if I want to elevate my game because I'm not getting any younger. And it's just the same thing every year, which is fine. I can compete in matches and I can throw an occasional low 70s out there, but I wish I could do it more often. And I also wish I could, I'm a 5.7 handicap right now. At one point earlier this year, I was up above 6, but, even just getting down to 4, I think is where I want to be. I just want to improve, and I just haven't really improved much in the past 10 years probably. So don't cry for me, though. I'm playing a lot of golf. It's I'm not staying awake at night. I'm just glad to get out there. And really, my biggest memory from this year was just be all that rain. It was really a tough year, slopping around and never really getting it going. And how much I've appreciated like the past month or so when we have had good weather and just being out there on the golf course. But we had that big microburst at Seneca Falls. And that was something different that I'll never forget, that's for sure. Not necessarily related to my game, but related to the course that I play. That was amazing to see a course change overnight in terms of big trees that have been around for a while being gone.
You were out there, right? You were on the course as it happened.
Yeah, we drove in just as it really hit and got a little wet. Got a little scary, too. It was strong.
Some big trees that are gone.
So I would have to think that one of the, if you were down there in Turks and Caicos or Puerto Rico for these last couple of hurricanes, I would think that that's how it probably was for
a few seconds, a few minutes.
Well, an hour maybe straight of like that microburst that we had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's just how it is sustained during a hurricane, and so
those aren't fun. I've been through a couple of those on my Florida days.
So other than that, I don't know when I stopped being a good putter, but I used to just be a different game with the putting. I putted good and bad some rounds, but I don't when I putt good. I don't necessarily feel like the way I used to feel.
You were a very good putter 5 years ago.
I don't know what happened.
4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. You were very good.
When you were tinkering with equipment this year, right? You switched your putters a few times?
Yeah, but I've always done that.
Yeah.
I've always gone back to old putters and bought new putters, and but
Scar tissue.
yeah, no, I got the yip. I developed.
You start missing
the yips. Missed a few short ones, and the short ones are the ones that are
face forward
toughest.
putting.
Maybe I'll go back to that next year. That was a failed experiment.
Face forward with the acrylic?
Yes.
Okay. You still have that in your
I still got it.
garage?
Yeah. I got a left-handed one, too. You could try that. So.
Well, I will say this, though, Jim. You were styling all season long in your link sole gear. So.
Well, that
nice
might
hat
be
you got
another
there.
story of the year. I find 2 years ago I had a fair amount of link sole stuff, but this year I was could go almost all link sole every day.
Link soldier.
And it's just I don't know, that stuff's so comfortable.
Absolutely.
And
Gotta say thanks to those guys for some of the gear we've gotten from them over the course of the year too.
big supporters of the Golf J podcast. But
We're gonna get dug in it next year a little bit.
get some link sole
Absolutely
going up on there. I tell you, I love it. I do. I love the shirts. I love the pants. Love it all. And the t-shirts. You wouldn't think t-shirts could be so comfortable, but
best. No, nothing beats them.
So, speaking now of equipment, probably a few people off the top said, Titleist is releasing a new ball. They might not have heard of that. Well, they did announce that, depending on where you live, they're going to be releasing a new premium ball. PGA Tour.com confirmed that Titleist is testing a new ball called the Titleist AVX. In select U.S. markets, the product is geared for golfers seeking a premium performance golf ball with an emphasis on long distance and soft feel. So imagine that, somebody that wants distance and soft feel. The new AVX features a new core, cast urethane cover, aerodynamic technologies, and comes in both white and high optic yellow. It's been a while since we've seen a yellow Titleist ball, right? So anyways, I thought the Pro V1 was a premium golf ball.
Well, then they added the X.
Yeah, I thought that was. I don't know what can you get better. And the way they make it sound is, right now, a sleeve of Pro Vs is like $4 a ball, right?
Yeah,
$13.50 for a sleeve.
Yeah, so a little more than $4 a ball. So what's this new premium, ball going to be? And how can it really be that much better? Or is this just some sort of hyped up marketing scheme?
I think they're getting everybody ready for a big increase if they're putting the name premium on it.
Well, remember when they came out with the Pro V1, the price jumped up to well over $40 a dozen.
Yeah.
And it was probably over $10 more than the next competitor, right?
Right. It was
and
a big
I thought,
jump.
this is crazy, but everybody flocked to the Pro. In fact, they couldn't make them fast enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's another effort here, probably to jump the price point dramatically.
I'm thinking $60 a dozen.
And they control 75% of the market with all their golf balls.
Right.
Okay. So
if people believe though that it's a better ball, they'll pay more for it.
They will.
That's the trick.
No doubt.
Golfers are logo dudes. When it gets down to it, they want that alleged best stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And let's face it, there's probably something just about as good for a whole lot less.
Yeah. Oh, you're playing the Pro V? Well, I've got the AVX.
Yeah.
I'm playing the AVX.
What do you have? NXT.
Yeah.
Well,
DT Solo.
What sport is so much into gear other than golf? Basketball is big on the sneakers, but golf, there's so much gear involved that it's so important to like you say, you're a golfer, right? Mm-hmm. So your gear matters to you. How you look out there matters to you.
One of the tools of the trade.
Yeah.
The balls, the clubs, the grips, the shoes, and then the apparel.
Yeah.
It's all part of it.
If you're into golf, you want to look the part too. And looking the part is part of playing the name brand stuff.
And how much farther can a golf ball go?
That's
it's distance and feel.
Yeah, enough.
Okay. So
they got to rein it in. We talked about that in a previous episode too. They got to rein in the golf ball.
Yeah.
One of the concerns too about people taking up the game is the cost.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, right? So to get a new set of golf clubs, you're looking at, if you go brand name, you're looking at $1,000 for a set of irons. You're probably looking at another $1,000 for 3 woods and maybe a hybrid or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to get a golf bag at least for $100, and that's not much of a golf bag. So you can be around, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000 before you swing.
Yeah.
If you go brand name, right? And now you go buy a dozen premium Titleist golf balls for $75, let's say. Got to get a glove, a couple of bags of tees.
Might rain. Better throw an umbrella in there.
And I'll follow you around and find all those golf balls in the woods and sell them as used golf balls. So, but I just a little concerned about the cost and the startups of getting more people into the game. You know, where's that $12 decent golf ball that so a kid can buy it, a husband and wife that are starting to play, or a retiree, you know. Again, they're going to sell.
Yeah.
If they launch them, they will sell.
Oh yeah,
There's
no
no
doubt.
doubt.
Especially if you know the guys on tour start using them,
Yep.
then every single digit handicapper is going to feel like they got to have it.
Yep.
Yep.
When in reality, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Is there?
And I'm a sucker for it too. I play the Pro Vs. I don't need to play the Pro Vs. I could probably get by with like a, you know, that's the thing is that you got most of these other balls, the Callaways, and you know the other premium golf balls are all similarly priced.
Yeah.
But I guess you might save $1 or $2 off a sleeve, but I wonder what it would be like if you went to what's a
you played the
mid-range
Vice.
brand.
You played the Vice last year.
I did, and you know what? Performance-wise, it was fine, but they lost their color
Yeah, it
to me.
turned
But
yellow.
maybe they solved that problem. But I did. I played Vice exclusively for a whole
summer.
season, maybe a season and a half.
Yeah. And
So Bridgestone has an E-Series golf ball that's very good, $725 a sleeve, almost half price. And they make a soft and they make a speed. One spins more than the other, just like an X or a non-X. $725 a dozen, good golf ball.
I went to the club championship final the year I played the Vice as well, so I actually outperformed the Pro V. But
If you're the only one,
it turned yellow.
you'd
though.
be on those commercials on TV.
That's right. It just turned yellow, so we can't have that.
well, no matter what, the two balls that start with a V, Vice and Volvic, cool names. They sound cool coming off the.
Volvic, good golf ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
Played
good
it a few
golf ball.
times this year.
What's interesting too at Titleist, the president announced his retirement today. Wally
Saw
Uhlheim.
that, yeah.
Wow,
So at
he's
the
been
same
there a
time,
long
they're
time.
launching a new golf ball. Yeah, he's been there since 1979 or something like that with
Yeah.
the company. So, but
Maybe that's his
parting shot.
party,
Yeah.
legacy going on with $60 a dozen golf ball.
We'll try to get our hands on some of those.
I think we can
Oh,
do
there'll be
that at
samples.
some point.
Yeah.
Yep, no doubt.
So, well, quickly here, I didn't want to really preview the President's Cup because, I mean, what is it? There's a bunch of good golfers on both sides. They're going to face off, in a really.
He is fired up for this.
It doesn't
He would
matter.
change this too.
But Thursday it gets underway. There's 5 foursomes matches, 1 to 6 o'clock. Live coverage on NBC on Thursday from 1 to 6. Friday, second round competition. Again, 5 4-ball matches, 11:30 to 6 live coverage on the Golf Channel. Saturday, 36 holes. Morning kicks off at 7 a.m. Coverage starts at 8 a.m. on NBC and goes till 6. So those are foursomes and then 4-ball in the afternoon. And then Sunday, final round competition, 12 single matches, noon to 6 p.m. on NBC down there at Baltusrol in New Jersey. And it's the USA versus the world.
Except for Europe.
They're like Germany in World War II. They wanted to take on the world.
It's Liberty National though, not Baltusrol.
Oh, you're right. Why did I say that? Liberty
Sorry
National.
to correct you. On.
Is Baltusrol the host of the PGA
They
next year?
got a
something?
major coming
They
up.
got one coming. You know what I'm looking forward to mostly for this tournament, and I remember when we started the Golf J podcast 2 years ago, we were watching. This is one of the first tournaments that was up when we started, and we were watching the darn tournament,
Yeah.
at 2 in the morning because it was in
that's right.
China.
Yeah.
And I'm so looking forward to being able to actually watch it during the day in normal hours.
It's
and
on
go
our
to,
time this
yeah,
time.
and go to
Yeah.
sleep at a normal hour.
Right.
It'll be fun to watch it, but I don't care that much if we win or lose this at all.
I mean, yeah. Do we ever,
As a team.
agonize over it at the end, like we've done on some Ryder Cups that we've been close
The
to?
Ryder Cup, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
The President's
Exactly.
Cup, I'm like, yeah.
You're like, come on.
It needs some controversy, like a little fist fight on the 18th green or something, and
Well, they have had a couple of good finishes over the years, though. I mean, that one year that Freddie had that awesome shot that came up over and all the way circled around the green, and then Ernie and Tiger going at it in a sudden death kind of situation where they ended up having the tournament, and we kept the cup. So I mean, it does have some drama.
There's a Canadian on the team, Adam Hadwin. So there's like a Canadian on the team with South Africans and a player from Japan and New Zealand and Australia and South America.
All our Canadian, New Zealand, South African viewers just
just let Canada be with us. Let's go North America versus the world.
Let's go north of the wall.
So today on the Golf Channel, I learned something I didn't know about how this got started. Back when Dean Beeman was commissioner, remember Greg Norman was pushing for a world tour.
Right.
One of the things that was proposed was the winner of the Ryder Cup and the next season would play the world. And the PGA Tour circumvented that and jumped in and launched the President's Cup. I think it was going to be called the Netherlands Cup or something along those lines.
Probably would have been better that way.
So because the winner of the Cup would play, I'm not sure they keep the same team intact.
Right.
But if USA won the Ryder Cup, on the off year they play the world.
Right.
Okay, but then the PGA Tour thought we're not going to let anybody get in front of us.
Right.
Yeah.
So they kicked this thing into gear.
That's when.
And the other tournament never happened.
That's when Mr. Norman wasn't very popular with the tour at
that
point.
No, he wasn't.
Well, the WGC events were born out of that.
They were.
Exactly.
So I would rather see it be the USA versus Australia or the USA versus South Africa or something that at least there was, if it was, say, it was a USA versus South Africa or Australia, those guys would be the underdogs, and that would be huge in their countries. And all they would have to do is beat us once, and then next time it comes around, the Americans are going to be, come on, we're not going to lose to Australia this year.
Right. Yeah, but think about it, start. How are you going to market that when you got Greg Norman sitting on the sidelines or Seve was in the Ryder Cup? You get those guys on the sidelines, right? You're going to go play Africa? Who do they got? Nick Price.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so I agree with your logic.
Now
of
they
the
got
underdog.
Grace, Oosthuizen,
right, but
Schwartzel.
that's 30 years later.
And some of those guys aren't in form either.
Right.
I don't think any of those countries have enough guys to field a full team.
12 guys would be tough.
That are all playing well enough to be in the mix. So I think that's.
So I think if you go to the NBC network and say, "Here's what I want to do. Do you want to cover it?" They're going to say, "No way. I can't sell sponsorships." Right?
Yeah. Well, I just don't care about it. Like I said, even if they beat us a few times, like I'll celebrate together. Like, what's the team bond? I don't know. Not a big fan of the President's Cup. It's fine. I don't mind watching match play golf at all. But
you're having a tough 2 weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm ready for this season to end.
The social media shots from the President's Cup were pretty good 2 years ago. We got a couple up here. I mean, they have some good times after that. Oh, yeah. On that flight home, they're all dressed up in costumes. And Phil Mickelson.
Well, it's always fun as a player to be a part of a team in an individual sport. So I think that's another reason why it's and the players on both sides make it a goal to qualify for these teams. But yeah, it's fine. It's just not the Ryder Cup. It's not even close. Ryder Cup's appointment viewing to me when it comes around. I'm not making plans to watch the President's Cup. I will if I'm sitting around and it's on, but
yeah.
So, yeah, whatever. President's Cup. Who do you think's going to win? Got any predictions?
Do we even talk about who's in it?
USA.
No, I mean USA or international. I'm going international.
Wow, that's a reach right now. Looking at these guys and how they're playing, I don't see how there's any possible way.
Adam Hadwin?
No, some of them are playing good, but
Siwoo Kim,
top to bottom. And Lahiri didn't even think he was going to be on the team. He wasn't even sure why he was asked to be on
when the President's Cup.
He said that in so many words. He's like, really?
When the President's Cup comes around, you can throw records out the window.
True. But I think
just take the USA because they win every year.
Lahiri was like, are you really sure you want to take me?
So, all right, well, that wraps up another season of broadcasting on the GolfJ.com podcast. So we're going to be back next season. We're going to throw some stuff in between. We're going to try to do some more of those interviews with some of the industry leaders throughout the equipment world.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed doing those in the off season last year and the past 2 years. So we're not going away completely, but and who knows? Next year comes around, we might have some tricks up our sleeve for you. But it's been a good year, guys. I've enjoyed talking golf with you every Monday night. We started the season in one studio, and ended it in another. So
and started in 1 year and ended in another year.
That's
too.
right.
Seems like, and then guess what? The season starts in 2 weeks.
yeah.
That's right. It's been a good year. Thanks a lot for everything. I really enjoyed talking with you guys as well.
That's
No, it's
Blast.
great having you
Fun.
up here, and I think I do the one thing I do look forward to is talking golf for an hour. How else you gonna sit around and talk golf for an hour unless you actually formalize it in a podcast? Like we do it every Wednesday night, but it's not like a straight hour
Right.
of running through.
Yeah.
Whatever we plan on talking about. So it was good, and of course, everybody that listened in, whether it be on golfj.com or on Finger Lakes Cable Channel 12 or YouTube or found the links on Facebook and fingerlakes1.com. It's we're glad that you enjoyed it, and we want to hear from you too. So reach out, send an email in to us. What's the info at golfj.com?
Yes, sir.
So all right, that does it, guys. We'll see you next year.
But it'll be this year.
That's right.
golfj.com